Saying I am good in English or I have much books is holding your fluency back. These small, repeated errors are exactly why you don't sound natural. Let's fix them right now. 10 common English mistakes learners make and how to fix them. Hello, my dears. Many learners struggle with English because of small, repeated mistakes that hold them back. One very common mistake is confusing much and many. People often say, I have much books, which is incorrect. You should say, I have many books, because many is used with countable nouns. Another mistake is using some and any incorrectly. In positive sentences, some is used like, I have some friends. But in negative sentences or questions, we usually use any. For example, do you have any questions? Or I don't have any money. Pronunciation mistakes also appear frequently. Learners might say library instead of library, or February instead of February. The key is to listen carefully to native speakers and repeat words correctly. Another area of confusion is verb tenses. Many learners mix past and present tenses. Saying, yesterday I go to the market is wrong. The correct usage is, yesterday I went to the market. Consistency in tense is very important. Prepositions cause a lot of trouble too. Common mistakes include saying, I am good in English instead of I am good at English, or he is married with a doctor instead of he is married to a doctor. Prepositions must match the verbs and adjectives they're paired with. Another frequent error is using double negatives, like I don't need no help. In English, double negatives create a positive meaning, so it should be I don't need any help. Many learners struggle with subject-verb agreement. For instance, saying, she go to school every day is wrong. The correct form is, she goes to school every day. Remember that singular subjects need singular verbs and plural subjects need plural verbs. Word order is also a tricky area. English sentences generally follow the subject-verb-object structure. Saying, to the market I went may be understandable, but sounds unnatural. I went to the market is correct. Another mistake is misusing adjectives and adverbs. Learners might say, she runs quick, but it should be, she runs quickly, because adverbs describe verbs. Confusion between who and whom is common too. Many learners use who in all cases, but whom is correct when it is the object of a verb or preposition. For example, to whom should I give this, instead of who should I give this? Finally, learners often struggle with articles. Saying, I saw a moon last night is wrong. We say, I saw the moon last night, because the moon is specific. Or saying, I want an apple is correct, but I want a apple is wrong. Articles are small words, but very important. By focusing on these common mistakes, listening carefully, practicing regularly, and correcting yourself, you can make your English much clearer and more natural. Another common mistake is confusing fewer and less. Many learners say, I have less books, which is incorrect. The word fewer is used for countable nouns like books, pens, or apples. So the correct sentence is, I have fewer books. Less is used for uncountable nouns like water, money, or sugar. For example, I have less water today. Paying attention to countable and uncountable nouns will make your sentences much more accurate. Using phrasal verbs incorrectly is another challenge. Phrasal verbs are verbs combined with prepositions or adverbs, like give up, look after or run into. Learners might say, I look my brother, instead of I look after my brother. Or I ran my old friend yesterday, instead of I ran into my old friend yesterday. Learning phrasal verbs in context is key because they often don't translate directly into your native language. Many learners also struggle with confusing make and do. You might hear someone say, I will do a cake, which is incorrect. We say, I will make a cake. Generally, make is used when creating something, and do is used for tasks, activities, or work, like I will do my homework. Small differences like these can completely change the meaning of your sentence. Mistake is using wrong question forms. For example, learners might say, you are coming tomorrow, instead of the correct, are you coming tomorrow? In English, questions usually require subject-verb inversion. Practicing question forms aloud will help you sound more confident and natural when speaking. Confusing say and tell is also very common. Learners might say, he told me that he is busy, which is correct, but they sometimes incorrectly say, he said me that he is busy. Remember, say is usually followed by what is spoken, while tell is followed by the person being addressed. For example, he said, I am busy versus he told me he is busy. Using unnecessary words is another common mistake. Many learners add words that are not needed, like I personally myself think that. English prefers simple, clear sentences. You can simply say, I think that. Removing extra words makes your speech sound stronger and more confident. Pronouns are another tricky area. For example, learners sometimes say, me and my friend went to the market, which is informal and grammatically incorrect in standard English. The correct form is, my friend and I went to the market. Paying attention to subject and object pronouns is very important in everyday conversation. Finally, many learners mix up because and so. For example, I am tired because I didn't sleep well is correct, but saying I didn't sleep well so because I am tired is wrong. Because gives a reason, and so gives a result. Keeping these connectors straight will make your sentences logical and easy to understand. By noticing these small but powerful mistakes, practicing regularly and listening to native speakers, you can steadily improve your English. Reading aloud, shadowing sentences, and repeating correct forms will help you internalize these patterns. Remember, mistakes are not failures. They are opportunities to learn. Every time you correct a mistake, you are building stronger, more confident English skills. Another mistake that learners make is confusing borrow and lend. Many say, can you borrow me a pen? When they mean, can you lend me a pen? Remember, borrow is when you take something from someone temporarily, and lend is when you give something to someone temporarily. For example, I borrowed a book from my friend, and I lent my notebook to my classmate. Using these words correctly will make your English precise and professional. Confusion between say and speak also comes up a lot. Learners often say, I want to say English, but it should be, I want to speak English. Say is used to express words, while speak is used for the ability to talk or the act of communication. Similarly, talk is often informal, like, let's talk about this. Paying attention to small differences like this makes your English sound natural. Articles continue to be tricky. Some learners say, she is doctor without using a, or I went to a school when talking about their own school, which should be the school. Articles like a, an, and the may seem small, but they are very important in English. A simple way to practice is to read sentences aloud and notice how native speakers use articles. Another frequent error is with conditional sentences. Learners often say, "If I will go, I will tell you," but the correct form is, "If I go, I will tell you." In English, if clauses usually do not use will. Practicing conditionals in daily conversation, even with small sentences, can make a huge difference. Learners also mix up much and a lot of. For example, "I have much friends" is wrong. It should be, "I have a lot of friends." Much is usually for uncountable nouns in negative sentences or questions, while a lot of is more flexible and informal and works with both countable and uncountable nouns. Using a lot of in spoken English will make your sentences sound natural and smooth. Confusing who and that is another common mistake. Learners sometimes say, "The person that helped me is kind," which is understandable but not always the best choice. For people, who is preferred. "The person who helped me is kind." For things, that is correct. "The book that I read was amazing." Paying attention to these relative pronouns will improve your clarity. Many learners also misuse yet and already. For example, "I have yet finished my homework" is incorrect. The correct sentence is, "I have already finished my homework." Already is used for something that has happened sooner than expected, and yet is used for something that has not happened but is expected. Practicing these small words will make your sentences more fluent. Another area of confusion is comparative and superlative forms. Learners often say, "This is more better," which is wrong. You can either say, "This is better," or "This is the best," depending on what you mean. Similarly, "more faster" is incorrect. These small mistakes are easy to fix once you understand the patterns of adjectives and adverbs. Using to and very incorrectly is common. Learners might say, "I'm very tired to work," which should be, "I am too tired to work." Very strengthens an adjective, while to indicates something is excessive or problematic. Practicing sentences with to and very will make your English sound more natural. Finally, many learners forget to use question tags correctly. For example, "You are coming, isn't it?" is incorrect. The correct question tag is, "You are coming, aren't you?" The rule is, if the statement is positive, the question tag is negative, and if the statement is negative, the question tag is positive. Practicing these aloud will help you sound confident in conversation. By noticing these common mistakes, repeating correct examples, and practicing daily, learners can improve step by step. Listening, reading, speaking, and even shadowing native sentences are powerful ways to internalize correct English. Small mistakes are normal. They are signs that you are learning. Every correction brings you closer to fluent and confident English. Another mistake many learners make is with the word still. They sometimes say, "I still not finished my homework," but the correct sentence is, "I still haven't finished my homework." In English, when we use still with negative sentences in the present perfect, we need haven't or hasn't. Similarly, learners often say, "I'm still here since morning," when the correct version is, "I have been here since morning." Understanding the connection between tense and words like still can make your English much more accurate. Confusing bring and take is another common error. Learners often say, "Bring this book to school tomorrow," when they mean take this book to school tomorrow. A simple way to remember is, if something moves toward you, use bring. If it moves away from you, use take. For example, "Please bring your homework to me," versus "Please take your homework to class." Small distinctions like these improve your clarity. Many learners also struggle with the difference between can and may. Saying, "Can I go to the bathroom?" is commonly heard, and in informal settings it is okay, but the correct polite form is, "May I go to the bathroom?" Can expresses ability, while may expresses permission. Using these words correctly adds professionalism and politeness to your speech. Another common mistake is misplacing adverbs. Learners might say, "I only have 2 books," when they mean, "I have only 2 books." Placement of words like only changes the meaning of the sentence, so paying attention to word order is very important. Another example, "She almost drove her kids to school every day," versus "She drove her kids almost every day." Small changes in position can make your sentences clear and natural. Confusion between and among is frequent. Learners often say, "I shared the candies among 2 friends," which is wrong. Between is used for 2 things, and among is used for more than 2. Correct usage, "I shared the candies between my 2 friends," or "I shared the candies among my 3 friends." Paying attention to these details shows advanced English understanding.
Many learners also make mistakes with the word like. For example, "She looks like beautiful" is incorrect. Correct usage is "she looks beautiful." Like is used to compare things, not to describe appearance. Similarly, learners say, "I am like tired" instead of "I am tired." These small mistakes are easy to fix with practice and observation. Another area is with conditional verbs in the past. Learners say, "If I knew, I will tell you," when they should say, "If I had known, I would have told you." Using the correct form in second and third conditionals makes your English grammatically correct and understandable. Practicing these forms through examples and repetition is very helpful. Using "so" at the beginning of sentences is another tricky point. Many learners say, "So I went to market," which is informal. In spoken English, it is acceptable, but in formal writing, it is better to say, "Therefore I went to the market," or simply, "I went to the market." Understanding context helps you decide when informal language is okay and when formal English is required. Many learners also confuse "in" and "on" with dates and days. For example, "I was born in 5th July" is incorrect. Correct usage, "I was born on 5th July." "In" is used with months, years, and long periods like "in July," "in 2020," or "in the morning," while "on" is used for specific days like "on Monday" or "on my birthday." Practicing prepositions with dates will make your English sound natural. Finally, learners often confuse "say" and "speak" in reported speech. For instance, "He said me that he is busy" is wrong. Correct form, "He told me that he is busy." Using "tell" with an object and "say" without an object is a small but important rule to follow. By observing these common mistakes carefully, practicing corrections, and repeating correct examples in your daily life, your English will gradually become more confident and fluent. Listening to native speakers, reading aloud, and shadowing sentences are all simple techniques that make a big difference. Remember, every mistake is a step toward improvement. Don't be afraid to make errors. Each correction strengthens your skills and moves you closer to mastering English.